Scott Steinberg back for Digital Trends. RE3 2007 coverage continues. It is the show for video gamers. We're finding out all about it with Editor-in-Chief of Electronic Gaming Monthly, Dan Shu. Dan's going to tell us about some of the trends in gaming and some of the cool stuff that's coming out of the show. What's the scoop?
Well, we're really seeing a lot of people react to what Nintendo's doing. You know, Nintendo released the Wii. It's selling like hotcakes, and they're reaching this more casual market that people really didn't recognize before as like a potential audience for games. So, Nintendo's super popular with the Wii. They're also doing it with the DS. Like, they wanted to make these simple, accessible, family-friendly experiences, and then we're seeing everyone else kind of react to that a little bit. So, like the other platform holders, Microsoft, they announced, hey, we're going to make a CNET video game based on the DVD board game. PlayStation 3 is also we're going to have trivia games, we're going to have casual experiences. They're really promoting their SingStar line, karaoke games. So you're seeing the other companies follow suit. The third parties, even like Electronic Arts, the giant of the publishing world. They just announced that they're going to have a casual division created. This entire separate part of the company dedicated just to making casual games. So that's a big trend. I'm a hardcore traditional gamer. I've been playing games for 20-some years, and I hope it doesn't swing too far in the other direction. I don't want every game to be casual, but I think this is great for the business because it's bringing in more gamers, it's bringing in more people into the business. Companies are going to make more money, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Even like the hardcore games, traditional games, they're trying to simplify those a little bit too. Like fewer button presses, simplify the controls a little bit, just so they can make it a little bit easier for more people to play.
Going back to the days of, let's say, like Pitfall, or any of these old franchises making a comeback, is that still a big trend?
Yeah, just like movies, we're seeing Bionic Woman and, Starsky and Hutch, and they love bringing back the classics because, there's a lot of people out there who recognize these properties. And same thing with video games. It's really popular to say, let's take a classic franchise and update it. Now, we've seen a lot of that. I think that was really prevalent in the PlayStation 1 days. Things like Space Invaders was updated. Asteroids was updated. So, a lot of times now we're seeing companies kind of bringing back the classics. It's easier to do on the current consoles because now they don't have to produce. These are simple games. If you're going to update Pac-Man, it's not going to be a very complicated game. But what they can do now is on the Wii and PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, you could just download small games for a small price direct to your hard drive, direct to the system. So you don't have to go to, the companies don't have to worry about the expense of bringing out a fully packaged product to store shelves. It's just easy for them. We'll upload it, you can download it, costs you $5, $10, and it's a simple play experience.
Oh, very cool. Now, what about violence in video games? I mean, a lot of people think it's a hot-button topic. Do you think that games are toning it down a little bit, or game makers, I should say?
I think game makers want to tone it down a little bit because they have to react to what the what the reaction is in America. Now, the weird thing is, as movies are getting a little bit more lenient, I just watched Die Hard, the new Bruce Willis movie. It's a really violent movie, but it's PG-13. That would have never have passed 10, 20 years ago. So they're getting a little bit more lenient in movies because people are just kind of conditioned to on-screen violence. But on video games, people are kind of overreacting to it right now because there's an older generation who still feels video games are for kids. They don't understand that the average age gamer is well over 30 now in the United States, and there is a market for games designed for grown-ups. But people don't really realize that. They think it's video games are for kids, and it's a really easy topic for politicians to tackle. People are scared about violence in video games. It's like, all right, let's go get those video games. So companies are going to want to tone it down a little bit because they can't risk having a too harsh of a rating because that just means you're going to limit sales. We saw a Manhunt 2 from Rockstar. It's not out yet, but it's going to come out soon, and our ratings board slapped it with an adults-only rating, which, when I look at it, I'm like, the game's not really more violent than the first Manhunt, but it shows that the standards are changing. People are reacting to the general climate out there. But now we have to see what Rockstar's going to do because they don't want to change their creative vision, but if you have an AO rating, you're not going to get sold. Like the platform holders don't want your game. The Walmarts and Targets aren't going to want to carry your game. So we're going to see, I think they're going to have to tone it down.
How about music? I mean, I'm hearing a lot about this game Rock Band, where you can actually play guitar, play drums, or sing along to tracks by Nirvana and The Who.
Yeah, so Rock Band, that's causing a really big buzz at the show. The Guitar Hero makers, they went off and split off and are now working with EA to make Rock Band. So what they decided to do is, instead of just having you play guitar or playing bass on our plastic controllers, now you can also you can have one member of the band play guitar, another member of the band play bass, a third member play drums, and then a fourth guy pick up the mic and sing. And they're all playing a game. You know, the singing part is like Karaoke Revolution, where they measure the pitch and tone of how you're doing to determine whether you're doing well or not. You had to play drums and hit it to the beats, bass and guitar. And what's fun, it's really ridiculous because it's the simplest game in the world. All you're doing is trying to time your notes when you're strumming or hitting the drum to the on-screen prompts. Simple. It's ridiculous that it's a game, but what's fun about it is like you're holding this plastic guitar, you know, and you're playing drums. You feel like you're a rock star a little bit, you know. So when you're up there in Rock Band specifically, and you're up there with three friends watching the TV, and you're all playing music together, you feel like you're part of you're in a rock band. So
it sounds pretty fun, but a lot of people are talking about addiction in video games. That maybe they're a little bit too fun.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if someone's going to get that addicted to a simple game like Rock Band. But, you know, some of these role-playing games, and they could take you 50, 60 hours. Online games, you know, that's where people really get addicted because they never really end. You could play those forever. And it's becoming a little bit more of a serious problem. I think in America, it's not recognized as much of as being a big problem yet. But, you know, there's people like, you hear stories like people in Korea where they'll stay up all night at like marathon sessions for 48, 50 some hours and just keep playing online games like nonstop and forgetting to eat, forgetting to sleep, and then they just pass out and die even. So it's a little bit scary. You know, the thing is just people have to realize, you know, take everything in moderation. You know, like you got to eat. You know, we're humans. Like, you know, fragging people online is a lot of fun, but you just got to eat. You know, and take a break sometimes. You know, your eyes need to rest. You know, you're just go out, get some fresh air, walk around a little bit, then get back to gaming.
Gotcha. Sounds like a ton of fun here at E3 2007, and we appreciate you coming in and talking to us. Editor-in-Chief of Electronic Gaming Monthly, Dan Hsu, thanks again.
Thanks for having me on.